I don't think a 50B is a great tank to put in that position, but like a lot of mediums can do really well down there. And you basically, make sure that there's no artillery in the spawn, then it's really easy to win that side. Alright, top tier is good. Pretty much the same comp. One big already on both sides, and one medium one, but it's the big ones that you always got to worry about. Yeah. You can play either side here. I wouldn't necessarily, I never really worry too much about over here, even if I'm the only heavy per se. I really don't, because both sides tend to slow play this, and you can use that time to be more effective someplace else. And the whole thing, like when I look at this in terms of playing the South, one of the reasons why I don't play the South is because there are 3 RD. I mean, albeit one of them small. But basically what that means is that even if you win, so that essentially you should look at it like this. If you win here, then you have to push against 3 RD. If you draw here, then, well, you really didn't do anything in a top tier tank. And if you lose here, then it's just embarrassing. So if you do the outcome analysis, the best case scenario is that you're gonna have to do something where you get shot by a lot of artillery. That's the best case scenario. But let's see how it goes, boy. And so they have an E25 on that area, which is pretty common. And it's like the whole problem is pushing through this area right here. Oh man, they got an SU to shoot HE at you as well. And see, that OHO is going to be difficult to whittle down from this position. And so one of the reasons why you don't want to like sit back here like this is that these guys are going to get smoked without you. And the whole problem with, like, see that guy back there is that this becomes a more difficult position to play through. That was not good. Oh man. At least the OHO shot. Well, the SU got down, so that's good for you. Oh man. You're pretty much just going to spend this whole time eating Artie. Oh, look at you! Look, the VK. No, see, so when that VK moves forward, you gotta go forward to get that shot. Because if he's gonna waste himself like that, oh, the retreat, the strategic retreat. This is the worst case scenario, where you lose this side and face much embarrassment. But you killed a tier 7 non-turreted tank destroyer though, so there is that, and it only cost you 2 6s. And half of an 8. Oh boy. And then see on this side, the main problem is that when these guys sit back here, once these guys get up underneath them, it's very difficult, which is why if you're these guys over here, you want to be able to own this area. Which is again why if you come this way, you basically just push your heavy in over here, and you can just bully all of these guys off of this side. Oh man, you got the walk of shame, running away from the side that you chose as a top tier heavy. And so basically what you need is a gift from the other team. So you need to play the backside of this over here, and you need to hope that they just do some really dumb stuff. Now you don't want to play back here. Back here is irrelevant. You want to play back over there. There you go. That way. And then you need them to do some foolish pushing at this point. But yeah, I mean, I would say that this is mostly on you. Like, again, you have to be able to look at the comps of the teams and predict, okay, what's going to happen here if I win? Again, going back to what I was saying before, is that I'm not entirely sure what scenario you thought you had there that was going to work out for you. You should also fix your gunner. In case you haven't. Oh, look at that, though. Okay, don't fix your gunner. The gunner is better when he's dead. All ammo racks. No, you should fix your gunner. Thank you. And then this is actually a pretty good position to play out of when you have sucked for the entire first half of the game, because it's not super easy for their tanks to play through here. And so whenever that shot comes, it's this bush right here. man. See, I don't understand why you even bother aiming. You shouldn't have even repaired the gunner. I sense a lot of late game damage here, boys. No, you know where he is. He's not over there. You just saw him. You like literally just saw him right there. And see how they're coming up through this side. So eventually the Oho is either going to come up through that middle or that side. So you need to keep an eye on it, but you don't need to like shift over there right now. You do want to see if you can light that T25/2. Oh man, the RNG wasn't with you. See, the problem there was that you aimed. That was a good shot. And then you want to back off here because you can... Look, he's spun right at you. Oh, Super Pershing got too close. No, kill the Super Pershing, my man. There you go. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Oh. See, you didn't aim there. Don't aim is obviously the solution to all of your woes. You're still not really worried about the back. That Oho is going to come up. You'll see him at the last second, but at this point, you'd rather try to whittle this side down. So now is about the time where I would turn around and start getting on this side, right? Because the E25 is already over here. You're not like super concerned about that. So again, you always have to see that gap that comes through the back like that. You have a shot there. So there he is. And then now load up the APCR, boys. You've got one AP shell left. You don't need it. You rather, at this point, you might as well just hit up with the APCR because this guy's going to be frontal here. Aim for the turrets. No, not that turret. That's the small turrets. At least you are using APCR now. And see how as he gets closer, that's actually an advantage for you because you can hit that turret a lot easier. Man, you have 6 heat shells or HE shells in this thing. Don't get that close. You don't need to get that close, man. Should have just been aiming. Oh man, look at there. Look at there. Already he moved. Use your repair kit or yeah, first aid kit, and then just charge straight south. Don't worry about that. Oh man, they both hit you. That's unfortunate. But what are you gonna do? You can repair your gun though. Repairing your gun would help you. Because by the time you get there, the crew will be fixed. But you need to repair that gun. You can't do what you're doing. Repair the gun, my man. You gotta. That's what the repair kits are for. Repair the gun. I assume he's on the low ground, but you know, repair the gun. No, just go down there. Man, you should have gone down there, and you should have repaired your gun. But that's neither here nor there. And again, so you don't want to take the top route here. You want to go down there and then come around, because that would have solved all of your problems already, anyways. But yeah, I mean, so when you look at games like this, you basically cost yourself the game with your early game decision. Like, you know, without seeing a single enemy, right? You basically played an improbable hand. Oh man, outmaneuvered by the arty. Oh, and then the bounces are real. You can still just ram him. And then you want to hug this wall right here. No, hug that wall! Oh, man. And then, so now you want to be careful, because playing up through this back allows Artie to hit you. I would have hugged that wall. You would have been a lot safer over there. Something tells me... So I predicted that you would get shot a lot by Artie in this game. Well, not quite in the positions that you were playing them in, but that part of it came true. Like, I felt like you would have been better off staying back there by that dead corpse and then coming up through the top, because you can shoot into this area pretty easily, and you know that 25/2 is going to be like right here. someplace. So a lot of this is just like, oh, how do you get already say? And if he's not gonna charge you here, oh, there he is. I mean, I would have taken that snapshot. So, you know. You can't charge him where he's at, unfortunately. Don't do it. Just see if he does something stupid. If he doesn't do something stupid, like what you can do is just back off down here a little bit and then see if he approaches. But you don't want to come out here and try to push him. Like, that's not going to get you a good shot. Oh, the bounces are real. But like going even that far out is not a good choice. And then, because what you're worried about is them repositioning it already out there or repositioning it already behind you. Oh, you're going for it. This is not the right choice, by the way. Yeah, apparently. Like, if anything, like, he wasn't cap threading you. Like, you can always just back off, right? And then either you can literally just look down this lane behind you or just wait for it to see if he'll push. But again, I'm not entirely sure what you thought you saw. Like, you know, we're in the next map control series that has been, the script has been finished. We haven't actually recorded it yet, but the next map control, the interview series that Mike and I were doing, I'm going to talk about this, where you look at the team at the beginning of the game, and you sort of decide where you're going to go based off of what you see on your team, what tank you're in, what map you're on. And like when I look at that type of composition, I go, you know what, I'm not, you know, even if I win the South, I'm going to at best draw because I'm not going to want to push against 3 already like that. And so you guys didn't need to lose there. And you could have really just wrecked their faces on that north side if they tried to push into you over there. It's so much easier against artillery to play through this north and then come through the middle underneath them in order to play. So that was a difficult, and you basically had to eat that at the end, where you're just like, you came all the way out here and you're just like, wait, what the hell am I doing out here? What the hell are any of us doing out here? And then you kind of, you know, put your tail behind your legs and went all the way back. And then playing this position, like I said, in that game where you've already lost, you can deal some damage coming through there. But that was a lot of late game damage that didn't really make a whole lot of difference in the game. So this is one of those games where a lot of this is not, you know, this game was decided early in a sense when your guys got plowed over on this side and you weren't able to, you know, somewhat predictably you weren't able to win on this side, and that created some issues for you. But yeah, it's one of those things where I really felt like if you just looked at the comps early and thought about what you were going to do, like what, again, like I said, think about what the best case scenario is and think about the worst case scenario. And like in my mind, the best case scenario for you coming to this South was that you obliterate everybody here and then you run away anyways, because the artillery, you don't want to continue pushing through this ground against 3 big artillery, or 3 artillery in this case. All right, so if we there we go. So if we look at the stats, you did not get a whole lot out of your team, but that will happen. You just, yeah, I mean, you did some damage, but again, like almost all of that was not totally irrelevant, but not. You needed to do more of that in the early game to keep your other boys alive. But GG, nice try. Alright, and then we'll look at Xenue's Bat Chat game. Yay for Bat Chats. Alrighty, so bat on Westfield, same comps, no arty. So what I like to do in a bat is spot through this middle area early, because you can get some early damage on these guys going out here potentially if your guys know how to shoot straight. And then I generally play through this low town, because if people play the outside, then you can get damage out here for your team. And even in a bat gun, you can do that. RNG depending. And so like you're starting to go up here. I never start up here. I don't think that this is a good area to start in. Like I think the only time that you should ever go up here is if you're like in a platoon and you have every single intention of pushing to right here. Because if you don't push to right here when there's no artillery, then playing this south side is, in my opinion, not ever profitable. But let's see where you go. You do have a platoon mate, so that's a good sign. And then you'll see a lot of people go up here, and again, remember, going up here is really easily spottable from this middle, which is what I do all the time. Like there's almost no way for you to get into this bush without me spotting you from over here. But that means that their team didn't play in the middle. And then, so one of the reasons why I don't like playing this side and stopping back here is that you don't really get a whole lot out of this. Like, you don't get a lot of shots in the early game. I mean, I guess technically if they had a guy just, you know, tra-la-la-la-ing down here, you would get something on them. But see how their team is basically doing the same thing, and you essentially pin yourself there. And see where your boy is going over there? Like, you could have gotten over there without taking damage because you're much faster than him and you had a better spawn than him. But that position right there will start pushing these guys back, because he can spot them from over there. He can be hauled down from over on this side into that area. And what that does is that it forces these guys to start falling back. Now, when these guys start falling back, the interesting thing is your position still doesn't get any shots. But if you're right here, you get shots on the back of these guys. As they start backing up away from him, they have to come down this little hill here, and you get shots from this position right here, which is why this position ends up being really powerful in most pub games, because this exact situation happens. There's a pack of guys here, and there's a pack of guys here. And when these guys get lit or shot, they back up right here, and then you get your shots from right here. Whereas you'll notice their team doesn't get a whole lot of shots into this area unless you guys get lit, and you don't really get a whole lot of shots to their area. Unless their STB decides to go over the top there. Oh, look at that shot. That was some bat accuracy right there. And then I always watch and see what's going on the other side. Right now, it's pretty much a stalemate, so that's something you need to keep an eye on. But it's like, in these games, I often feel like you're not doing enough early on, like especially if you're just kind of waiting. That always makes you feel bad. And then the other thing is, so see how you're coming over to their side now? This is the other thing that I don't like. I see this a lot in not just organized games. I'm sorry, not just pub games, but I see this a lot in organized games as well, where you're coming over to the same side as them. And I always feel like you're better off getting a better angle, right? To be able to a lot of times it's not about having a hammer where you can just power it down into them from directly, you know, in a head-on-head confrontation. Often, so much of this game is putting yourself into a position where as pressure is applied from one side, it opens up the other side. Or as pressure is applied from this side, it opens up this side. And that's a lot of what this game is coming at an enemy from two different angles where you're relatively protected, rather than sending everyone to the same side, where then now it's like, okay, well, let's just duke it out. And so pushing forward here is not necessarily a bad idea, but so the whole problem with pushing forward here is that it doesn't give you any protection from this area over there. And that generally ends up being a problem. Like, most of their guys are lit. There's one IS-7 that you don't know where he's at, but he's presumably, you know, someplace. These guys are backing off. And then again, like this position where these guys are at, that's like really shootable for this 50B. I would shoot the STB first, to be quite honest, because the STBs are... So, yes, it sucks, because the STB is at, let's see how far away he's at like 400 meters. But even before you get lit, like you could have stopped right here and taken a 400-meter shot on the STB. And the reason why I say that, and I always say that the Bat Chat is not a sniping tank, but I'm looking at that guy. He's one shot, nobody else. Nobody else can shoot him. And so I would have stopped there and tried to get that guy out. You weren't lit, and then you pushed the 140. Oh, and don't face hug. And then reload. Oh man, why do you have so many heat shells? You have like 4 full clips of heat shells. That's gonna be a problem. So you're loading 4 APCR, right? Well, you were loading, but that's gonna be an issue. I almost never run heat in, well, not almost never. I never run heat in a pub battle with the bat chat. So again, the ammo counts on the. You can play through this area right here pretty effectively. Now, this is a good position given that they don't have anybody in low town, right? And what you're actually not looking to do is you're actually not looking to shoot those guys right there. You're actually looking to shoot these guys right here, these guys that are sitting high. Because what you don't want these guys to be able to do is start to put pressure on this guys over here. So you're sitting here thinking, oh well, I can get shots back here, but these guys are not punishing your team. Like this is not an issue. Like if you could get into a position where you could take out that FE 183 easily, then okay, you know, I'm with you. But like shooting that E5 is going to be irrelevant as compared to shooting these guys that are over on this side. Oh man, the most dangerous tank, the most dangerous prey, the guys in the back. And so just for to point it out, can I zoom like this? Like this, you have this shot right now, right? And so when we talk about threat levels, like this guy is not, this is not a threat level, right? Whereas this guy potentially is, and there's other guys where you could scroll just a little bit this way and get those shots as well. So you always have to whenever I see like situations like this, I almost never worry about the campers, because the thing about campers is that you can come back to this guy later. He'll still be there. Don't worry. Oh man. And the thing is, he's not even the one that spotted you. That Xenuex is the one that spotted you. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! And you didn't even kill him. So like to me, I look at that and that's a wasted clip. I mean, not a wasted clip in the sense, you know, you did the damage, but it's like you had such better targets to shoot at. Like that guy was, you know, whenever you see those guys in the back, like almost always I kind of, even, you know, without seeing like win rates or win rates and things like that, you kind of know who's bad. you kind of know who's bad, you know, like if there's an IO7 in the back over here. But so you kind of want to prioritize the guys that you shoot. You want to shoot the guys that are really hurting you. Because like even if you left that E5 at full health, like that guy wasn't ever really going to get to a position where he was going to probably, you know, really hurt you. Oh, look at that. Don't even aim. And see how this guy's coming out over here now. So you've lost this side. So one of the things that you should do always whenever you're playing mediums on this type of map is once you lose control of this sort of west flank side here, you need to sort of vacate this area. And the best thing to do is actually now is a good time to come back here. Like especially in no RD games, you basically shift this IS-7 back, or you move a heavies back to this area right here. You put your support tanks back behind them, and then this IS-7 can basically skate back and forth here to get lights, and these guys can shoot anything that try to push him. But like this area here where you're trying to fight these guys at closer range, I don't really feel like that's really profitable. I don't know why your IS-7 is charging them either, because he can get pushed from this side really easily. Like once you start getting outnumbered like that, you want to start saying, okay, well, how do I minimize my exposure level here? And then so again, like see how this FE 183 is trying to push across here. In order to shoot these guys, right, they either have to drive up here to where that IS-7 is, or you know, they have to drive out of this ditch that they're in. So this FE 183 is going to come across here. So what you want to do is not get, like it looks like you're thinking about going right here to shoot him. I generally don't think that. Like what I think when I see this is I look at this guy coming out here and I want him to commit. I want him to get into this cap area right about right here and then I'm going to start shooting him. You've only got 3 shots in your shell. But right, you don't want to shoot him so far back where he can get cover and be sort of sheltered in that sense. Oh man, you definitely don't want to get lit by him. Oh, and the heat shells are real because there's a little thing right there. You need to shoot him a little bit higher as well because you're shooting heat, so you don't want to hit that track side. And see how this IS-7 is getting pushed? So now is what I was saying is that you want it to be back here. It's going to be difficult for you to drive out against this Action X now, so you actually have to drive up over here on this side most likely. But let's see. Oh, look at the tree camo. The tree camo is real. And then again, so when you see like this IS-7 back here, just like that E5 that's in the back there, like that's the least of your worries. Like your worries are these guys right here, particularly since your C62 is still over there. The good news is that you do have heat loaded, so there is that. The bad news is your boy's gonna die before you can do anything. And again, like you should look at which guys can I actually get out. Like, if you can get this IS-7 out, then do it. Oh man, Action X. Oh man, aim it all the way. Oh, at least you aimed it all the way, so there is that. Okay, and then again, so now they're already down here, and you've lost your spotting, which is why I always advocate once you lose this side, you want to get up here a little bit faster. Ideally, your IS-7 wouldn't have pushed in and got himself killed. That was pretty pointless. But what are you gonna do? And then so see how this position right here. So again, like whenever I play a bat in particular, I always think of it more like a light tank, particularly in these late game situations where you're outnumbered, and you really want to play a range game because the bat does have good camo. And so what I would do is I would come out over on this side to be able to shoot back at them because these guys are obviously pushing down towards this Action X. And so you can, if you wanted, you can come over to this side and get shots, but as soon as you shoot, you're going to get lit. If you come over to this side right here, you know, short of these guys sort of camping over here and waiting for you, you're not gonna get lit by them, and you can use that. There's a little bit of cover over there, but like coming over here is a guaranteed death sentence. Oh man, I like those odds, is what you're saying. You can still get that IS-7 out, but I would the IS-7. So again, like when I look at these things, I always think of opportunity. Like this IS-7, obviously not the best player in the world. So like if I have to, you know, try to get a finesse shot on something here, I'm gonna shoot the Action X first. Because again, I look at this guy's positioning where he's basically sitting out in the open next to a big house, but the house is on the wrong side of him, right? When I look at guys like that, I go, okay, that shot will be there for me later. I don't need that shot first, right? Whereas if I have a smaller window of opportunity on this Action X, then I'll look to take that Action X shot first. Well, oh man, so, and then this is just all math now. So like when I look at the mouse like this, right, and I know that I have 4 heat shells and 4 APCR shells, like I look at a mouth that's this high, and I basically do the math. Can I clip him or not? From this range, using heat shells, you'd have to damage him with every single shot and average roll, basically, right? Those odds are not good. So, like when I see this, I always think, and this is some calculus that you have to do with a bat chat that you generally don't have to do with any other tank. You always have to go, how much potential damage do I have left? How much potential damage am I going to need to deal? And so if this mouse is not going to threaten you, you know these IS-4s are headed out over here. This Action X is over here right now. If you can get this Action X out, once your Action X spots these IS-4s, you can get shots into the back without the mouse being able to do anything, and then you can worry about the mouse. So I would look to get the Action X. Oh, okay, now you don't have a choice. You gotta get these guys out. Oh, look at that! Didn't even fully aim. Oh, the track! He's there, he's just on the end of your range. So that was a nice try. That was a valiant effort. And then all you gotta do is skirt out over here, right? You need to play the back. You actually don't need to go behind this. You actually don't need to go behind, sorry, this thing right here. You can actually come through the front, given the mouse's probable position. because in order for him to spot you, he actually would have had to like drive up like that. And so the reason why you want to do this, and so it's all about timing. And so when you think of, you know, I always think back to playing like World of Warcraft and things like that. And so there are times when, you know, you need to kite something. And whenever I play in a situation like this, like let's pretend like you had a little bit more ammo where you're just like, okay, we can do this. I always think of it like kiting. Like what I want to do is I want to string these guys along, and I don't want them to bunch up too much because I don't want to fight too many at a time. And so I always sort of try to kite them out this way, see if you can start picking up, getting a couple shots on the mouse, and then keep sort of stringing them out where you keep moving them around the map, but not, you know, without overexposing yourself. So apparently you did have to go back. Oh, because that IS-4 came up here. I didn't see. The other IS-4 was pushing you. So yeah, this position is fine. Again, like you have to really consider that they're there's no likely way that you're going to win this game. There's a small chance that you could draw this game, and that would be the sort of the best scenario. Now what you don't want to do, like if you were spotting this guy and you had someone else on your team, then that would be one thing. But what I would do is I would literally just try to bail out this backside, because all he's doing is he's waiting for his team. And all you're doing is waiting for his team. And I can tell you that that's not going to end well. Oh, man. Oh, and then you went the wrong way. And again, that's really one of those things where I feel like you would have been better off scrolling back away from the IS-4 and trying to get that shot. But let's make a run for it, boys. This tree line actually is decent. Oh, especially if he's... Oh, you got that. Oh, you got one shell. Save it for the Xenuex. All right. So, I mean, a couple of things. One, I don't necessarily feel like your initial positioning was all that useful. Your T-62 platoon mate was probably more useful. You actually would have been better off playing his position in the early game, because you could have gotten there without getting shot, and he would have been better off playing the 50B's position, sort of in this area, because as you backed off those guys, he could have just gotten some free damage, or if he kept shooting them and they moved up, then you could have gotten shots on them, sort of thing. And that's sort of when you work, you know, not just with platoon mates, but, you know, with your teammates, you always want to look to try to create those types of situations where you can get angles into areas where the other guy can't get angles. And that's really a large part of getting, you know, collecting the free damage in the game. But you guys did push here eventually, and that's fine, because you were able to get them down. Who knew that they put an IS-7 in the back? I mean, that's kind of hard to predict and difficult to predict, but that's what happens. So I think a major problem was the fact that you shot at their E5. I mean, I don't think that that's like cost you the game, but I think that that's a major miscalculation of what you should have been doing. And again, I think for me, it goes back to this idea, not just of, oh, there's an opportunity to deal damage here, but there's an opportunity to deal damage that for a guy, you know, against a guy who's literally doing nothing. Like, we can probably look at that, how much damage that E5 did, and I'm guessing he's not going to have a huge contribution in the game just based upon where he played. Similarly, that IS-7 that's played in the back, he's not going to have a huge contribution in the game. You can tell that just based upon where he played. And so I think I always think about that especially when I'm in the back, because, you know, as we were talking about earlier, and I know you know this, but as we were talking about, like, so much of playing the bat chat in that early to mid game is, should I take this shot or shouldn't I take this shot? Like, and if it's a, you know, as I was saying, if I'm taking like a 400-meter shot, I'm thinking to myself, is there like a 75% chance that I'm going to deal damage with this shot? Because if not, then I'm probably not going to take it. And that's not a calculus that I do with any other tank, right? If I'm in a Russian medium, I will fire on the move at something that's 500 meters away and hold down, because if I don't need that reload, I don't need that shell. But in the bat chat, it becomes a very different equation, because so in theory, like, we could, if we were to play this out where, let's pretend like the bat chat had unlimited ammo, right? In theory, what you could have done is, you know, going back to this idea of kiting these guys around, you can do that, But the way that the bat chat works in the current game, and again, they are increasing the ammo on the bat chat, but the way the bat chat has worked, since its inception, is this idea that you have to be cautious with your shots. All right. So if we look at the stats, oh man, your team didn't do horribly. Oh, is this the, oh, there's only one E5. So yeah, this was the E5. Oh man. And I don't remember which IS7 it was. Maybe we can check. Oh, I can't see that far. So it wasn't 2-ton Ted. Where was the other? Let's see, there were 3 IS7s though. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell who's in that corner, unfortunately. Let's see, can we tell based upon the damage? No, you didn't deal damage to any of the other IS7s, so... Oh well, we'll never know, or something. But, I mean, so the point of the matter is that... So, I mean, the point of the matter is that there's not going to be a whole lot of or I'm sorry, the point is that, to me, target selection was an issue there. And again, that doesn't like assure that you win the game, but I think that like, if you look at this and you're like, well, what could I have done better? Like I would look at that and be like, yeah, target selection. Like the starting position I wasn't a real big fan of, but I don't think that that's a bad position. I just don't think it's a good position given what your team was and where your team was going. But I don't think it was a bad position. But the target selection, I think, is a little bit of an issue. That, and I wouldn't carry that much heat on the bat. That was the other thing that I wanted to mention, is that, so one of the things is that when you were shooting that FE-183 over here, right, he had gone next to that little wall and he drove through the little wall. So like basically the front half of his tank was covered by the little wall, and heat will not go through that. Like, so even though he's in a FE-183 and completely side profile to you, you have to be careful with heat against small things like posts and fences and walls, because they won't go through them like APCR will, which is another reason why I generally don't carry heat on the bat chat for pub games. But GG, nice try.